Monster World, creepy and eerie. Watch as I unearth the CGC grades on my stash of 1960s horror magazines. Was it a horror story? Hi everyone and welcome to Still Only 35 Cents. For this video we'll be unearthing the CGC grades of my recent classic 1960s Warren magazine submission, Monster World, Creepy and Eerie, which features classic stories and art from industry greats like Alex Toth, John Severin, Al Williamson, Archie Goodwin and the incomparable Frank Frazetta. But before we get started, usual stuff, if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that notification bell for future content. From creepy covers to spine-tingling stories, these vintage magazines captivated collectors for decades. Warren Publishing was an American magazine company founded by James Warren, who first started publishing magazines back in 1957. In the 60s, Warren launched and had success with a number of horror titles like Creepy, Eerie and Vampirella. He made a few tentative stabs at comics back in 1964, producing a trio of stories adapting movies from the 1930s for Monster World, a sister magazine of famous monsters of filmland. Creepy Magazine was first published in 1964 and continued until 1983 and became very popular during that time. It was a magazine format with a colour cover and black and white newsprint interior. The choice of format was important because it meant the creators didn't have to adhere to the comics code, so they could publish stories that might otherwise have been censored. As was tradition with horror comics, the series was hosted by Uncle Creep. It was originally edited by Russ Jones. However, in 1965, Russ Jones had a falling out with publisher Jim Warren and the legendary Archie Goodwin, who'd been writing most of the stories at that point and working with the regular artists, took over as both editor of Creepy and its successor Eerie. Eerie Magazine was one of two sister publications that spun off from Creepy in 1965, again running until 1983. The first issue, which only had a 200-issue run of ashcan editions, was created overnight by Archie Goodwin and letterer Caspar Salandino to establish ownership of the title when they discovered a rival publisher was planning to use the name. Official distribution bizarrely began with the second issue in March 1966, which featured a gorgeous Frank Frazetta cover, graphic horror tales again inside, and edited by Archie Goodwin and hosted by Cousin Ernie, a curious character created by Jack Davis to sit alongside Uncle Creepy. As an aside, the final sister publication was Vampirella, which kicked off in 1969 and, like Creepy and Eerie, ended its run in 1983. It was hosted by the eponymous Vampirella. Goodwin resigned as the editor of Creepy after issue 17 in October 1967 and issue 11 of Eerie in September 1967 to begin working, editing and writing mainstream comics, thanks of course to the Marvel Comics revolution. At the time, Warren was also going through financial issues and thus cut pay for both writers and artists, which led to many of the magazine's leading artists to leave. As a result, Warren had to fill much of their content with Goodwin-era reprints that would be prevalent in the magazine until issue 32 in April 1970, when things started to pick back up with the premiere of the aforementioned Vampirella Magazine in 1969. Some of Creepy's original artists, including Frazetta, Crendel and Wood, would return, as did Goodwin, who was an associate editor through issues 35 to 39. So let's take a look at these magazines that I recently got back from CGC. First up is this Monster World number 6 from January 1966 with this amazing classic Christmas Frankenstein themed cover, featuring articles on a variety of horror movies including Dracula Prince of Darkness preview and Revenge of the Zombies photo story. It's a great example of these classic Warren magazines. On the back cover features this amazing homage to those vintage masks that you would be seeing prevalent in the 1960s. But what grade did we get on this book? According to CGC, this book received a grade of 8.5, which is very fine condition. and off-white to white pages. Considering its rarity and age, it's quite a good grade. There are currently only 58 graded in total, 51 copies higher than this one, so not a big number by any means. Next up is this issue of Creepy number 7 from February 1966. This has an amazing Frank Frazetta cover featuring werewolf and Dracula, so it's a classic one to have in the collection. This also has a fantastic creepy, Uncle Creepy face mask on the back that you can send off to get our host for Creepy Magazine. So super happy to have this in the collection. Let's see what we got from CGC. So we got an 8.5, again very fine condition, and it's got off-white pages. The grader's notes on this one were light spine stress lines to cover, light wear, all corners to cover. So I'm not particularly unsurprised by that grade, but again, great to have it in the PC. I checked the census, there are currently only 180 graded in total, and there are only 38 copies higher than this one, so a great one to add to the collection. The third magazine is Eerie number 12 from November 1967. This is one of those reprint titles, so at this point Archie Goodwin had left the title of Eerie, so I've got a number of these to share with you. So they're not prime Eerie Warren magazines because of that fact, however still wanted to get them in the collection. Not too much going on the back cover, just an advertisement, but again this cover with the mummy attacking an explorer is pretty iconic. The covers were still fantastic on these books, regardless of whether there are reprints on the inside. Let's see what we got. Let me just see if I can remove this. We got an 8.0, very fine minus condition with off-white to white pages. Not as high as the previous issue, but still an impressive grade that showcases the magazine's excellent condition. The grader's notes were light scuffing to cover, very light creasing to cover. Again, very few graded. There are only 57 in total, and 51 of those copies are higher than this one. So I'm okay with that. I'm pretty happy with an 8.0. The fourth book is Eerie 14 from April 1968. Again, this is from the reprint era, post Archie Goodwin leaving the title, and does feature cover art by Vic Prizzo. Doesn't have too much going on the back cover again. Just this great illustration of classic covers from the run. So let's see what grade we got. We got an 8.0. Again, very fine minus and off-white pages. The grader's notes were light scuffing to cover, light spine stress lines to cover, and light staple rust. There are only 41 of these graded in total, and there's 35 higher than this, but again I'm still happy to have an 8.0 of this book in the collection. And lastly we have Eerie 20 from March 1969. Again, another one of those reprint era titles post Archie Goodwin, so you're not expecting to have too many on the census. It does have a very interesting back cover with some posters of Spider-Man and other characters like Tarzan. So a nice little bit of memorabilia from the time. But let's see what grade we got. So we got a 9.0 with off-white to white pages. I think that's the highest grade that I got out of the bunch. The grader's notes just note light creasing to cover. So super happy to have that. There are only 14 graded in total, and there's 10 copies higher graded than this one. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. Before we close though, I wanted to share some of those fan club items that were created for both magazines, as well as the aforementioned Vampirella magazine. First up is this Creepy Magazine fan club, which saw members obtain a pin, membership card, and this impressive pin-up by artist Frank Frazetta. For Eerie, fans were treated once again to a unique pin, as well as a membership card. And finally, Vampirella also had her own Vampirella Magazine fan club, of course with her own pin and membership card. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the world of 1960s Warren horror magazines. What's your favourite Warren magazine? Let me know in the comments below. To celebrate hitting our 1,000 subscriber mark, I'll be giving away this limited edition Hex brand Jim Lee comic Batman vs Superman backpack, and I'll be adding some books based on your favourite character or team to the backpack. In order to give everyone a chance to qualify, I'll be drawing the winner live on the Mystery Monday Monster Show on Monday the 21st of October, 7:30 AM Australian Eastern, Sunday 20th of October, 4:30 PM Eastern and 1:30 PM Pacific. To qualify, simply subscribe to the channel here and on our Facebook, X and Instagram pages. Check out the description below for all the links and more details. As always, if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that notification bell for future content. And if you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button down below. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you very soon. Don't forget to check out our other great videos, as well as our weekly live stream, the Merry Monday Mail Call Show, every Monday at 7:30 AM Australian Eastern, as well as follow us on Instagram, Facebook and X at Still Only 35 Cents. Enough said.